Fantastic. Well, good evening, Sridevi. Welcome to the LinkedIn Live tonight. Um, my name is Kamishni, and I am the project lead for this year's Thrive Awards. And I am honored to be speaking to Sridevi Schaub tonight. And Sridevi has been nominated for the Best Mentor Award, and not by one mentee, by both of her mentees, which is super exciting. And Sridevi is also, she has been a mentor for Thrive with Mentoring for 7 years. And so we really have, um, I'd say, a seasoned mentor in our midst tonight. And I'm really excited about getting to know you, Sridevi, your why for mentoring, and what has been exciting about this process for you. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the very, very, very kind words. Really very flattered. And as I always tell my mentee, I'm not in here to, sort of win the award, but it's really helping them on their journey. And that's very important that we do the best for them. And so I'm very humbled by the nomination, I must say.
Well, having read your nominations, the answers to the questions that we sent to the mentees, it was really beautiful to read the depth and the breadth of support and that you've brought to both of your mentees in the last mentorship program. So, Sridevi, I want to get to know the why of you deciding to be a mentor. What led this? What led you to this?
Yeah, I mean, it's the time. I felt the time in terms of that was the right time for me to get into this mentoring stage. I felt in my career, I felt very confident. I felt to be able to have the experience, enough experience to be able to impart some of the knowledge that I have been blessed to get from various different types of people that I've worked with throughout my career. And secondly, and most importantly, an opportunity to work with others who are not in my organization remit. And how do I support and help people? And particularly, the third one is very much around women. Mentoring women was something that was very high on my agenda. This was about 8 years ago when I wanted to embark on this journey, because you hear a lot about mentors, you hear a lot about mentoring, never in the remit of female mentoring. And so, as I've always talked to Shvangi, I mentioned to her that I'm not just mentoring with Thrive, I'm also mentoring with another organization. For me, it's about giving back to the female community. And how do we continue to encourage female leaders to come up? How do we build the right kind of skill sets to support them and encourage them? And sometimes you don't have that. And luckily enough, Thrive has built this. And so that was a real purpose behind this. And I wanted to be behind this and support this. And it has been a great, great experience for me as well. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you're saying about, the giving back and giving back into a space that's really, that you sound very passionate about, and helping women thrive at, in different stages of their careers. Can we talk a little bit about that? What do you think are your key skills that you brought to your mentees to ignite this this shift in them and support them on maybe getting unstuck or where they were situations they were dealing with? What for you? What was the meaningful part of that for you?
Yeah, I mean, every mentoring journey has been different, with various different kinds of starting points, if you will, right? So there's a reason why somebody is seeking out for a mentorship. It could be part of their career. It could be a combination of both. It could be hey, I'm wanting to change a completely different career. Again, it's various different reasons why they're coming to mentoring. It's really about understanding where their needs are,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about meeting them in their journey as to where they want to go and how do we help them get to that journey, right?
Mm.
um, Believe me, every journey has been very unique in its purpose, in why they're
Mm.
trying to do what they're trying to do. And it moves me to tears a little bit, only because the journey that I've gone through with every mentee has been emotional, uh, as well as very functional and purpose driven, because everyone
Mm.
has come at it with very various different kinds of emotions that has involved them to move to various positions that they are aspiring to, whether from a career wise, whether personal wise, where they are thinking, setting goals, agenda for themselves as well. So it's a very emotional journey, and it's about how do you meet them in those moments as well, right? And it's about
Mm.
them being vulnerable and
Mm-hmm.
trusting me to take them on that
Yes.
journey. And it's not easy to open up,
Yes.
to trust a completely different person, a stranger that you have never experienced with before.
Mm.
And how do you take them on that journey? So that's a very humbling moment that I've had with many, many of my mentees throughout the year.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that segues beautifully into your learning and how you've been stretched through the process
Mm.
of mentoring people and mentoring women specifically. Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what has, where has the stretch been for you? How have you been challenged through the process? How has it shaped your thinking, or has it? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I think we talked a little bit about this last year with Shivangi, or this year. My timeline seems to be a little bit blurry at the moment. I think towards the end of last year, there was,
Yeah.
as we were opening up mentoring journey for anybody who was interested and sharing about Thrive, I shared that journey a little bit. It's deep empathy for where somebody is. I mean, we talk about that. It's very easy to intellectualize what does being in someone's journey looks like. But unless and until you hear where their background is and what they're going through, it's very difficult for us to empathize with their journey. And for me,
Mm.
that's why I use the word humbling here and the empathy. It's really brought me to a level to understand where someone's stage in their life is.
Mm.
And that for me has been the biggest growth personally for me, the empathy to develop listening skills in a way where I have never been pushed in that way. Right, where are their moments, and how can you make that transformation, help them understand those moments that can bring them on a different journey, right? So for
Mm.
me, that um, has been a biggest growth for me. And you talk a lot about, hey, active listening and what that means, and then of course you
Yes.
go through a whole range of different mentoring, but that's very different. Being able to listen those moments, being able to provide certain solutions and guidance at certain moments, and those moments where you simply allow for people to vent because that's what they
Mm.
need.
Mm.
Right, it's about meeting those moments, and those moments are very different and they show up very differently at different times as well. And that's not easy, right?
Mm.
Because the human nature is, or at least particularly for me, is I want to help, let's find a solution,
Yeah.
let's get this problem solved.
Yes. I
And
know.
that's
I,
not
I
easy.
resonate with that completely.
Right, and it's really hard when you're sitting and it's like, if only I wish, but you can't, because that's not
Yeah.
my journey, it's someone
Mm.
else's journey, and what they need at that point in time is just to listen, right?
Mm.
And it's very hard to do that, and that has taught me a lot of patience and
Aha.
reflective moments for myself as well, where you meet someone in their journey.
I love that you keep repeating you meet someone in their journey at that point where they are, because that is so powerful. You're not trying to change them and move them into where you want them to be. They are there. They are having a lived experience, and you need to be in that with them. And I
Yeah.
think those are some of the points that I picked up from your mentees. in
Mm.
in their responses to the nominations. And both the mentees talked about how you met them where they are, and you were able to hold space for them. And I think that relates to what you were saying about the listening and being able to sit with them and just be and understand and meet them where they are, and allow them to come up with the solutions rather than providing all the solutions, because it's
Yeah.
their life, right?
Yeah, I mean, the solutions, we will give some options, right? Opportunities
Yeah.
to say, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? At the end of the day, I feel the mentees are the heroes here because they are making the change that they want to
Yes.
do. And it's easier for us to do, what we call armchair advice.
Yes.
But they are the ones who are going through those. And there are some moments where they feel scared,
Mm-hmm.
lost, but they're willing to take the leap. And I have so much respect for those people doing that. And I'm very, very proud of all those mentees that I've worked with who are willing to do that. And one of the things that I started doing probably 2 years, I think, into the session when I first kicked off with a mentee is I tell them upfront expectations as well. I say, hey, the expectation is you are going to go through some level of transformation. You must be willing to do the work that's required. I can only get you so far. If you're not
Mm.
wanting to try some of those things, then you're not going to be able to make those changes. Are you willing to trust me
Mm.
on that journey? So, really helping them understand right at the front of the journey that it is something that they're going to have to make some level of change. We don't know what that change is going to look
Yeah.
like, but just to set that expectation and to build that trust and rapport with the mentee. So they feel extremely comfortable that they're willing to share their most intimate, challenging moments from a career perspective or from a life perspective with you. And that really changes a lot as you're having those conversations with them as well.
Wonderful. I can hear why you've been nominated twice this year, because you really understand what's needed in this mentorship process, and I can see you have deep respect for the mentee and their role in this process, and taking the bull by the horns, as we would say, right?
Mhm.
Taking charge of the process and enabling that. And I can hear that there's a lot of enablement that you've done through your mentoring relationships. Now, you mentioned taking a leap, and this year's theme for our awards is "Take a Leap." Take the leap.
Yeah.
And it's quite a relevant topic, just linked to what you were saying. A lot of your mentees have to take that leap, have to be willing to take the leap to shift. And taking a leap is anything from something small and changing a mindset to something big and moving careers or moving jobs. So what does taking a leap mean for you as a mentor, Sridevi?
Yeah, coming from a mentor's perspective, as in I'm not giving guidance to a mentee, but just looking at it from a mentor perspective. I think for me, the taking the leap was when I first started this to become a mentor, right?
Mm,
Uh, that was a leap for me. And every
mm,
time I interact with a mentee, with a new mentee every year, again, I'm not just contributing to Thrive, but I'm also working with other organizations on it is taking a leap. It's like, do I have the solution to support somebody?
yes.
Do I have the ability and skill sets required to help somebody on their journey? That is taking a leap for
Yes.
me as well. So it's about really understanding. So I go about doing that in many different ways, asking the right relevant questions, and then saying, hey, is my support enough? What does feedback look like? Is this what you want to do? But also for me personally, how do I make sure that the person feels comfortable enough to be able to go on this journey with me? What can I do to help support them and gain that respect and the trust to put in
Mhm.
me to be able to take them on that journey? So I work hard at that in understanding what those are and what that whether what I'm doing supports and meets their needs,
Mhm.
and also reflecting after every session as well. I do notes for myself and say, hey, I'm sensing this. Am I right? So I kind of ask questions for
Mm.
myself as well. And so that I am meeting them in their expectations as well, because mentoring is a two-way journey, right? So it's not just about me helping someone
Yes.
else. It's also about the ability for me to understand, for them to understand me as well. And how can I meet them where they are? So every mentoring
Mm.
journey is a leap of faith for me as well, not to forget.
That is so beautiful. And I think we're going to end right there.
Yeah.
You know, that was a beautiful way to bring this to a close. Sridevi, congratulations on your
Thank
nominations.
you.
I am really excited to meet you at the awards on the 10th of June and celebrate this wonderful nomination that you have received. And I think this has been a wonderful conversation, not just because you have been nominated as a mentor, but you've shared really important points about the role of a mentor in a mentoring process. So, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for bringing your expertise into this conversation. And thank you for continuing your journey to impart what you have to other women and support them on their journeys. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful
Very humbled
evening.
once again. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good evening. Thank you. Good
You
night.
too.